What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, and we are here with the evening stream. Usually I only do one evening stream during the weekend. That's usually on Friday, but I'm limited on time this week as far as the live stream goes, so I can only go live yesterday for the midday and, of course, today for the evening because there won't be a Friday stream this week. Otherwise, this would have been the Friday stream. But I'm going to be preoccupied with some other things this week. So y'all are lucky you're getting it early today. And before we all get started with everything right here, shout out to everybody that is in here so far. Shout out to everybody on Patreon, the members, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, everyone who sends me stories, all of that good stuff. But before we go ahead and get into it, because this is going to be a very, very interesting stream. I have so many tabs open. It's crazy because we got a lot to discuss and 2 videos on top of that. So we going to be here for a while, but I'm sure y'all don't mind considering the subject matter. But before we go ahead, let me go ahead and acknowledge people who are here so far. We have Craig Colson, Mr. Williams, Mr. Lone Wolf, JG Shallon Terrific, Freedom of Speech, Papa Mayhem, Oyi, Mahako, Freedom of Speech, Wallow J, Firebat, Isaiah Bone, Jason Lawan, Useful Engineering, AJ Moore, Code Red 713, Eric H, BN, Hacksign KT, Pi May, Maijin Diabe, Irvin Green, Abel, already said Firebat, Big Chris 3, Cosma Fury, Richard Sajor, Savion Zero, Kelly Goodman, Joseph Washington, The Slow Grind Hustle, RDRD, Shelton, LDBC or Nothing, Grape Shot Finally Aware, Roku Muro, NP7, Mr. Knock, Win or Lose Rug, Xavier, Junior Network, Real Supreme Justice, and Mission Vision. And shout out to Mahako for the 50. He says, Torian, thank you for deciding to do a stream with it. Oh, I was always going to do a stream on it. It's just that I wanted to wait for it to subside. It really hasn't subsided that much. If you really pay attention, like social media, they're still kind of, I guess you can say, up in arms about it. But I said I wanted to let a couple days pass before I actually gave my take on this. Who else do we have in here? Denise Scales. Who else? Prince Zakaria, Zavon Scott, Dewani Nelson. Should have known we got them trolls up in here. So my mods be on it. We're going to have some trolls in here. I already know there's probably going to be some trolls in here heavy tonight. So just make sure that y'all are on it. Let's see who else do we have in here. The fundraiser, Inga. Shout out to Savion for the 10. He says, it's funny when the Japanese told PC to F off about Yasuke because even they claim he is a samurai. PC can't do accurate research. Hey, listen, we're going to cover a lot of bases tonight. Not just the, the so-called outrage behind the game itself, but we're going to do some actual research ourselves over here. Let's see. The Conqueror. Tia to you. Yanni 2436, the Hooligan, Real Supreme Justice, and Code Red 713. Okay, I'm glad that everybody is here with us this evening. So, here we are thinking that with the release of the trailer for GTA 6 last year, we thought we probably had hit the pinnacle of anti-blackness with that trailer. And that was just a teaser trailer for a game that doesn't come out until the fall of next year. Then fast forward to last week when Ubisoft dropped the trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game that comes out on November 15th, 2024, where this game has 2 main protagonists, an Asian woman and a black man. Can you guess which one they were outraged the most about? If you said the black man, congratulations, you get the little gold star. That is what they decided they were going to get so outraged about, and I, for one, am not surprised by it. But man, they dragged this heavy. I mean, the comments that I saw, people going over there to mass dislike the trailer. And what's crazy about it is, it wasn't even just white people that were doing it. It was other black people who grifted so hard who were doing it too. No surprise there either. And we're going to go into all of that as well. But the first thing I wanted to do and ask is the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all have heard even the name Yasuke before. Put a 2 in the chat if you have no clue who Yasuke is. And I'm talking about before all of this started to blow up the way that it did. You never heard of that name. You have no clue who that is. A 1 if you do know. Put a 2 if you don't. All right, I'm seeing some 1. So the ones, for the people who are putting a lot of 1s, I know those are people who are, are up on, Japanese culture, at least on that aspect of it. Or you've heard his name throughout pop culture throughout the years. Okay, so I'm having a mixture of 1s and 2s in here, but that is why we are all gathered here today, because before we actually get into the nitty-gritty of all of this, I'm going to show y'all an article that was written up on the Smithsonian Magazine that is going to tell the people who Yasuke was. So I want y'all to know who we're talking about here before we really start to get into the reason why we are all gathered here this evening. So this was written on January 10th, 2023. It's titled, Who Was Yasuke, Japan's First Black Samurai? Yes, this was a real person. This is not a fictional being. This is someone who actually lived. In the late 16th century, the enigmatic warrior fought alongside a feudal lord dubbed the Great Unifier. Seconds into the first episode of the Netflix anime Yasuke, yes, and Netflix does have an anime of Yasuke on their platform. It came out in 2021, by the way. Viewers witness a massacre. Hundreds of warriors lie dead near the Honnaji Temple in Kyoto, Japan. The year is 1582, and flames envelop the area surrounding the fallen. Inside the temple, a black samurai named Yasuke has a tense conversation with the Japanese daimyo warlord, and y'all got to forgive me if I'm mispronouncing some of these names. Oda Nobunaga. While Nobunaga is resigned to his fate, Yasuke remains hopeful the pair can evade their enemies and live to fight another day. All that is left for me is an honorable death, Nobunaga tells Yasuke. The daimyo pierces a sword through his own abdomen before asking Yasuke what he's waiting for. Letting out a loud scream, the samurai lifts his sword to decapitate Nobunaga, completing the warlord's ritual suicide or seppuku. Nobunaga. See, that's why I'm glad y'all are here, because I knew that I was going to mispronounce some of these names. That's why I'm glad y'all are here. Shout out to you, Nightfall Drop. And it's called Daimyo. See, that's why I'm glad y'all are here. And see, I'm not mispronouncing their names on purpose, unlike some people. And like I said, we're going to get to that. Though the Netflix series introduces several mystical elements, including giant flying robots, magical armies, and weaponized laser beams, the broad strokes of its depiction of the Honnaji incident are historically accurate. Yasuke was an African warrior in the employ of Nobunaga, a powerful feudal lord known as the Great Unifier during Japan's Sengoku period. The first black samurai, he was at Nobunaga's side when Daimyo died. According to popular lore, Nobunaga tasked Yasuke with returning his head to his son. Beyond his relationship with the famous warlord, Yasuke was a barrier-breaking figure in his own right. Though his life is poorly documented, his story speaks to the surprising cultural connections that existed in 16th century Japan. Yasuke crossed geographic, cultural, and linguistic barriers to create, whether by necessity or by design, a new life in a foreign land, says Natalia Doan, a historian at the University of Oxford. Who was Yasuke? Not much is known about Yasuke's early life. Some historians speculate he was born in Mozambique, Ethiopia, or Nigeria. Thomas Lockley, co-author of The African Samurai, The True Story of Yasuke, a legendary black warrior in feudal Japan, says it's possible Yasuke was enslaved and trafficked as a child, but believes he was a free man by the time he met Alessandro Valignano, an Italian Jesuit missionary. The duo traveled from India to Japan in 1579, with Yasuke essentially serving as Valignano's bodyguard. Yasuke was employed as muscle because missionaries aren't allowed to have weapons. Japan at the time was in the middle of a brutal century of civil war, and therefore Valignano needed somebody to look after him. The civil war in question began in 1467 with the collapse of the Ashikaga shogunate, which left rival feudal lords vying for control of Japan. These clashes continued through the mid-1500s when Nobunaga consolidated power by unifying half of the island nation under his ruthless regime. Yasuke first crossed paths with Nobunaga in 1581 when Valignano requested permission from the warlord to leave the country, a customary practice in an era before passports, according to Lockley. Nobunaga was fascinated by the color of Yasuke's skin, which he initially believed to be covered in black paint. And that was actually highlighted in the series. So if y'all watch the Netflix series, the animated they did, that part that I just read was actually highlighted in that episode. I think it was the first episode too. As Lockley explains, the daimyo ordered Yasuke to be washed, but his skin color remained unchanged. Nobunaga threw a welcome party for his visitor, who officially entered his service soon after. The Chronicle of Lord Nobunaga, a 17th century book written by one of Nobunaga's followers, describes Yasuke as appearing to be 26 or 27 years old. This man looked robust and had a good demeanor. What is more, his formidable strength surpassed that of 10 men. Other chronicles characterize the samurai as an intelligent, imposing figure who stood more than 6 feet tall. Though Yasuke was already a skilled warrior, he likely underwent additional martial arts training upon joining Nobunaga's army. In the 16th century, the title of samurai spoke to rank and was loosely defined as a warrior in the service of a lord or another warrior. By 1581, Nobunaga employed thousands of samurai, yet Yasuke was the first foreign-born warrior to enter their ranks. He belonged to the very small entourage around Nobunaga, which was probably around 30 to 50 warriors, mainly young men, many of whom were Nobunaga's lovers as well. Traditionally, older warriors like Nobunaga, then in his early 50s, mentored younger warriors and developed sexual relationships with them. No evidence indicates that Yasuke and Nobunaga were lovers. Though Yasuke was the only black samurai in Nobunaga's army, he was by no means the only African present in Japan at the time. Several hundred African people lived in Japan during the 16th century. They worked as interpreters, soldiers, entertainers, and more. She says that Kyoto Japanese residents would have been surprised by Yasuke's foreignness, but likely wouldn't have exhibited prejudice based on his skin color. According to Lockley, Nobunaga was a powerful man whom few were willing to challenge, so his decision to employ Yasuke wasn't controversial. In fact, the samurai proved to be quite popular among locals who flocked to catch a glimpse of him. Yasuke joined Nobunaga during the last months of the feudal lords' unification campaign. His strategy was to impose peace by force of arms. He would quite happily wipe out 10,000 people if he thought it would forward the aims of peace. Though Nobunaga was close to completing his goal of consolidating control of Japan, his efforts came to an abrupt close after one of his trusted generals, Akechi Mitsuhide, someone help me out with that one, with that name if I mispronounced it, because I almost said Mitsubishi, betrayed him. On June 21st, 1582, Mitsuhide ambushed Nobunaga in Kyoto while they were en route to battle. He had thousands of troops under his command, and Nobunaga was accompanied by just 30 or so men from his inner circle, including Yasuke. He brings 13,000 troops. Oh, so you said Mitsuhide? Okay, appreciate it. He brings 13,000 troops into Kyoto, surrounds the temple where Nobunaga is staying, says Lockley, it's a foregone conclusion. It's 13,000 against 30. Mitsuhide's men slaughtered many of the soldiers in Nobunaga's entourage during the initial ambush. Eventually, Nobunaga, Yasuke, and an attendant named Mori Ranmaru, the feudal lord's lover at the time, retreated to one of the temple's chambers. It was here that Nobunaga performed seppuku, using a sword to slice open his abdomen before Ranmaru beheaded him. Ranmaru then also performed oh my God, y'all gotta forgive me. It's Mitsuhide. Okay. See, I'm glad I got some translators for me in this chat. It says, if you're going to die anyway, you might as well die quicker by your own hand and retain some honor. But that shows you right here, y'all, I don't watch anime. I don't really watch anime like that, so that's why I need the help from my people in the chat who do watch it. Once both Nobunaga and Ranmaru were dead, Yasuke escaped from the temple with his lord's head in tow. By protecting Nobunaga's remains, Yasuke denied Mitsuhide the chance to seize his enemy's head and display it as a way of establishing legitimacy and power. The reason behind Mitsuhide's betrayal of Nobunaga is one of the great mysteries of Japanese history. There are many stories, not all of them historically verifiable, of what could have led to the Hinnoji incident. Not much is known about Yasuke's fate after the ambush. According to Lockley, he may have been badly wounded and captured as one of the last survivors of Nobunaga's inner circle. The last known record of Yasuke describes him being escorted to a Jesuit mission by Mitsuhide's warriors. What we do know, says Doan, is that Mitsuhide did not execute Yasuke. Lockley speculates that Mitsuhide spared Yasuke to gain the support of the Jesuit missionaries. The usurping general lacked allies and only survived Nobunaga by a few days. On July 2nd, one of Nobunaga's retainers, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, I hope I pronounced that correctly, defeated Mitsuhide at the Battle of Yamazaki. Hideyoshi went on to become Japan's second great unifier, uniting the entire country by 1590. Now, I'm not going to go into the pop culture part because we're going to go a little bit through that as we go through the stream. But that was basically a history of who Yasuke was. A little backstory for those people out there who put the two in the chat, who wasn't aware. And I learned some stuff too, because I only knew him more on the pop culture side and not more the historical side. But I see we have some deeper historians right here in this chat who are definitely a good assist. So now that we've gotten through the history of Yasuke, now let's get more into the reason why we are here and start going through some of these articles, shall we? And we're going to start with this first one right here. That's coming off of what is posted on Yahoo Entertainment, but it came from Next Shark. And it was posted on May 20th, which was yesterday. So this is a very recent article. It says controversy erupts over Assassin's Creed Shadows protagonist. Notice it said protagonist as in one, but the game has two. As you can see right here in this picture right here, these are both the protagonists. So you have this Asian woman right here and that black man right here. But they were only focused on this one. This is the only one. And I find it interesting because some of the people that be upset about this be the same ones that said they don't like about like female-led roles, or they don't like how they're written and everything like that. All that went out the window when they found out he was one of the protagonists as well. It's almost like they forget that they have a whole Japanese female character in this game. But let's go on. So it says key points. Some Asian Americans expressed concern online about representation in the new game, criticizing the industry history of sidelining Asian male characters and stressing the importance, of proper representation. It says other critics argued that the game's depiction may not fully honor Yasuke's true narrative, sparking a broader debate on the responsibilities of game developers in representing historical figures. On Wednesday, Ubisoft released the official trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows, leading to some fans voicing their disapproval at the lack of a Japanese male led in a story set in feudal Japan. I am so glad that they're doing like this, because I came across an article that literally is going to put a lot of this stuff to rest, and it is, oh, it's like a chef's kiss, but we'll get there. We going to get there. It says, I'm Asian and Ubisoft decided to erase me and replace me in a game about my own country. Isn't that what they would have said if they would have made Assassin's Creed Shadows a white dude? Why are they okay with it then when they picked a black dude? Wrote Red 5 Studios founder Mark Kern in an X post with over 19,000 likes. Assassin's Creed being based in Japan and then not using a Japanese male protagonist is stupid, said a black fan on X, and we're going to get to that one. We know exactly why they're using Yasuke, and it is annoying. It would be as dumb as having it based in Africa and deciding to use a white male protagonist. Yasuke was reportedly a real-life samurai during the 16th century, believed to have been of African origin, and he is regarded as the first foreigner to receive the title of warrior in Japan and served as the muse for the Netflix anime Yasuke. He became a retainer to Oda Nobunaga, one of Japan's most powerful feudal lords. In a press release, Ubisoft said that the creators decided to include Yasuke in the game for his intriguing and open-ended story, stating that he offers a unique perspective on the period that allows players to discover Japan alongside him. So pretty short. It's not really article-based. It's pretty much bullet-pointed, almost in a list format, and it gets straight to the point. So that's this article right here. Now, remember what someone said, oh, why don't they base it in Africa? Well, I came across this article from this website called The Gamer. They wouldn't want an African Assassin's Creed either. I completely agree, because they would have found something to nitpick about with this. It says people are suggesting an African Assassin's Creed would be a better place for Yasuke, but they'd be making the same arguments if that's what we had. Assassin's Creed Shadows is set in Japan and is led by a black man by the name of Yasuke. Despite Yasuke being a real person, there have been cries of historical inaccuracy in a series where George Washington founded America to aid his quest for a magic apple. The attack line seems to have resorted to how insulting it is that we aren't playing as a Japanese man, and they'd be cool with a person like Yasuke if the game was set in Africa. I think we all know that isn't really true. The go-to gotcha for the set in Africa debate is the fact that we've already had an Assassin's Creed in Africa, with origins taking place in Egypt. And an effective retort for two reasons. Firstly, there were no complaints about Bayek's skin color or ethnic origin, thus proving the already fake point that people would be fine with an African Assassin's Creed. And secondly, it's not typically what people mean. Yes, Egypt is geographically in Africa, but in the extreme north and with its own legendary history, it feels like a very different biome than the jungles of Mozambique. So that now we're getting to the next part where it says it's not that Yasuke is in the wrong place. It's that he's there at all. I like how they framed it. A far better response is that when we played Black Flag, set in the Caribbean, we played as a white Welshman. There were no complaints then. And yes, there were white pirates in the Caribbean during that era. But then Yasuke was really in Japan. The best response is probably no response. These arguments aren't made with logic, but with the steadfast belief that every character should be a white male and everything else is quote unquote woke diversity. You can't reason with people like that, but I still find the knots they've twisted themselves into amusing. An African Assassin's Creed would be cool. A story set in the heart of Africa with savannas and tribal culture, a base not covered by the existence of origins. However, these same people crying foul at a black man in Japan would largely be making the same complaints about a black man in Africa. It's not the historical inaccuracy, mostly because Yasuke's presence in Japan is historically accurate. It's the quote unquote wokeness. There are almost as many complaints about the other protagonist, Naoi, and someone correct me if I'm wrong because I feel like I mispronounced her name. And this is talking about the female character in the game. Despite her being Japanese, because she's a woman. Playing as anything other than a white man is deemed as unnecessary diversity. The idea that the cabal of reactionaries angry at a woman having muscles in The Last of Us, Aloy having sunburn in the Horizon Forbidden West, Eve wearing a tiny scrap of fabric over her cleavage in a single outfit in Stellar Blade, a black woman existing in Alan Wake 2, Batman being killed in a game called Kill the Justice League, and here's the kicker, Tales of the Kenzara, Zao being woke because it is an African game starring an African man, would not throw their toys out of the gamer chair at the idea of an African Assassin's Creed is ludicrous. The next point says, debating feels pointless, but so does letting these arguments grow. If instead of Shadows, Ubisoft had revealed an African Assassin's Creed where you played as an African man, there would have been just as much of a racist outcry, maybe even more, especially if this game included the historically accurate slave trade, the obvious place for the assassin or Templar conflict to touch the African wilderness. It's difficult to make a game about African history as it relates to a historical battle for world dominance and not feature colonialism. And if it did feature colonialism, you can bet the response would be, why not give us the samurai Assassin's Creed we've been asking for? You could even use Yasuke if you want diversity in there. Whoever wrote this article, I'm giving you kudos right now because they are hitting on all cylinders with every word. It's like they're reading my mind right now. These people can't be logicked out of their opinions because they weren't logicked into them. And I doubt this article will cause any grand awakening to the hypocrisy in action here. For many of these trolls, it's no more complex than them not wanting to play as a black man. And it doesn't matter what continent you put them on, that's not a point of view worth arguing against. But it does feel that we waste time pointing out that we've been to Africa before and Yasuke was real and so on and so forth. They are beyond convincing because the arguments they're putting forward aren't even real. They're masquerading as respectable reasoning in public. Countering their arguments is not the answer. Ignoring is not always the answer either, as these poisonous views fester unchallenged, and criticizing them, thus amplifying them, only sees them grow in prominence too. When all is said and done, it's often enough to be satisfied that these extremely angry people deny themselves happiness fighting demons of quote-unquote wokeness they have invented. If Shadows is followed up by African Assassin's Creed with Ubisoft, seeing the apparent demand for one, then we'll see how much they all mean what they say. I suspect not a lot. Shout out to the author of this article. Who wrote this? Stacy Henley. Shout out to Stacy Henley. That was very, very well written. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We have 319 people in here so far, and trust me, y'all, we are not even halfway through what I'm showing y'all this evening as it comes to the stream. So I hope y'all are locked in. We are a little over half an hour in with still some more to go. Put some 100s in the chat, y'all. Put some 100s in the chat. Or the 100 emoji, I should say, because some of y'all will type the 100. Put the 100 emoji in the chat to let me know that y'all see Mahaku typed it. I bet someone gonna type the 100, and Mahaku was the first one to write and put the 100. But y'all, let's get into the first video. Well, actually, is the videos I have to show that they're back to back because they're from the same person. And Kazuma, I don't know if you're still in here or not, but shout out to you, because if I did not see your live that you did about this the other day, I would not have known about this video. So remember how I was telling y'all that there was some black people who felt opposed by this game? Well, there is one in particular that he literally made sure he made his rounds when this went out, and his post did go viral, but he was talking a bunch of nonsense. So no, it's not even, no, this is a black guy that is speaking a bunch of nonsense right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up. And the thing is, if y'all are on X, y'all probably saw it. Y'all might have saw it, maybe or maybe not. But let's go ahead and get into it.
I gotta say, man, I'm not impressed. I'm actually just really annoyed right now. We have two main protagonists.
He barely started talking and already I'm annoyed.
One female, one male, just like Odyssey. I'm gonna be using Neo. I hope I said that right.
He didn't say it right. So already he's messed up the female protagonist's name, but not like how he's gonna butcher Yasuke's name. Wait till y'all hear it.
Right, a female Japanese character. And for the male character, they're gonna be using Yasuke.
Damn. It's a bunch of bull.
Who is Yasuke? Can someone tell me who Yasuke is? And spoiler alert to those who haven't seen the video, he's going to say that name incorrectly several more times in this video. And the thing is, the video is only like 2.5 minutes long.
Now, I'm annoyed because they're using Yasuke, and I'm going to tell you why. Yasuke is what they want to say is the first black Japanese samurai, when in all actuality, he was not even a samurai. He was...
Like we just did. This is exactly why I read that Who is Yasuke article from the Smithsonian first. That's why I read that first before we got here. So those of you out there who had no idea who Yasuke was, now you know. And for those who do know who he is, know that this guy is talking a bunch of BS. Like Eric Mays just said.
A retainer. So he wasn't even a full-blown samurai. And for all of the characters they could have used for Japan, all these kind of different people they could have picked from, they picked Yasuke. Why do they pick Yasuke? Because he's black.
They literally did not say that they picked him because he's black. That's what you wanted to be. And all those others wanted to be.
So in context, that doesn't matter to me, because in all the Assassin's Creed games, every single character has been of some kind of different race and nationality, so that doesn't matter to me. That's fine. But you have to understand what day and age we're in. You have to understand the kind of social shit that they want to try to get across in these video games now. So instead of using a Japanese man in a game based in Japan, like they did with the other Assassin's Creed games, Altair, he was an Arab, obviously.
Arab.
One of my favorites, Connor, in Assassin's Creed 3, he was Native American. That was fine. And the most famous of them all, Ezio Auditore, who was Italian. So why in all those games would you have a character representative of the region they're from? But in this game, you want to demote a Japanese man and then use Yasuke. I understand why. We know why. But they're not going to tell you why. Because if you call it out, you're some kind of ist or phobe or whatever. And since I'm black and I'm calling it out, that means that I must hate my skin or something. You know how they do. I just see...
Who's they? I want to know who is they.
This, and my immediate thought is they did this for brownie points. I can't think of any other reason why you would have a Assassin's Creed game based in Japan, which we've been clamoring for since the beginning of Assassin's Creed, and then have the main protagonist that is a male be black. I see that and I'm like, there's no other reason than I want claps for it. There's no other reason. And I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. I've played every game. I love every game. And one of my favorite characters is actually Cassandra from Odyssey. So nobody can sit here and say, I don't like women or I don't like diverse people or whatever, when one of my favorite characters is diverse. Hell, Connor Kenway and Hatham Kenway, those are some of my favorite characters from Assassin's Creed. So before the idiots want to start, that's not the reason. The reason is I see straight through this bullshit and I know exactly why they picked this character. It's annoying. That's like if Ghost of Tsushima, instead of using Jin, they used a white dude. People would be like, that doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense to me. It's stupid. I know exactly why you're doing it. I see straight through it. It's annoying. It's pandering. It doesn't do anything for me but piss me off.
Ooh.
Listen. Fuck up. Get out.
Ooh. You heard him. It's just gonna piss him off. Oh man, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, can we roll?" I said, "Someone pull out the little tiny violin for this dude." And here's the thing, y'all. Here's the kicker. That wasn't it. So that was the first video that he put out there that went viral. I guess it got a lot of circulation. It really didn't do much for his X account because he didn't get that much of a following after the fact. He probably got like a follower here and there. But then he decided, I'm going to do a follow-up video to address the people that had something to say, because you never just stop at one go round. You got to go several. So here's the second video.
Me saying I want the first Assassin's Creed game in Japan to star Japanese characters, how that equates to me tap dancing and me performing or whatever. Like, yeah, you got me. I mispronounced his name wrong. It's Yasuke, just like Sasuke. I get it now. But I don't see how me wanting 2 Japanese characters in a Japanese themed game makes me some kind of whatever y'all have been calling me. And if it's because I said he's a retainer, why are you mad? Because that's what he was.
Someone in the chat said that all samurais were pretty much retainers. So you're basically preaching to the choir, thinking that you somehow proved the point. Yeah, he made a second video. I promise you, this is it's not a third video after this. It was only these 2.
Retainer. I mean, you could say it's a kind of samurai, sure, whatever. But is it a samurai or is it retainer? Because if it's retainer, you can't be mad at me for saying something that's a fact. So again, I'm just waiting to see something logical. There was the one guy that was, trying to help me with the pronunciation and, telling me to do research on him, which I did beforehand, which is why I called him a retainer. I mean, but other than that, what do y'all got? Raccoons and whatever kind of things you want to throw? That don't mean nothing, man.
Clearly, it does mean something because you came back on here and made a video to address the people calling you out for what you said. So apparently, it hit something, because if it didn't, you would have left it alone. And you want to know what's so crazy? Even after this video he did, why he didn't post a third video, thank God, he still went on tirades about it. So apparently it must have hit him somewhere in his core. He felt exactly, Wallow J, he was knee deep in his feelings.
It doesn't apply to here, so it doesn't mean nothing to me. I'm a 5'5" black Muslim raised man.
There it is, y'all. He said he is 5'5". I smell Napoleon complex, aka short man syndrome.
You think I haven't heard all the jokes in the book? Everything y'all got is not phasing me. I'm just waiting for an actual logical rebuttal to what I said. And
the crazy part about it is everyone gave him a logical rebuttal to everything he said, but he couldn't come back with it because he couldn't admit he was wrong about what he said.
I have not seen one.
Shit. Well, let me bring this back up to the stage so y'all can see something. Because this dude, when I tell you he's off the rails, he is. Let me show y'all something from his page. Let me go here right quick. This is his page right here, y'all. This is a post that he made. He says, playing an actual Japanese Assassin's Creed game, come through if you want. Hashtag Twitch, hashtag Twitch affiliate, hashtag Twitch streamer affiliate samurai. Now look at what he posted. Look at what he posted. He posted up a picture of Yasuke from the game. This is, well, not the face. He photoshopped Steve Harvey's face, where Yasuke's face is in the game, with the caption saying, "We was samurais and sheep." Now, where does that come from? In this bubble, where does that come from? Where does that come from? Exactly, Mahako. That's typical of Dub S. When they do the We Was Kings and y'all seen it. This black man who's 5'5", and I'm only saying that because he told us, put this up there. Yes, I see the first comment, and I'm gonna go over that first comment. That first comment was priceless. This first comment right here, he said, "Bro, been live for over an hour, bitching to 13 people." He said he been bitching 13 people for over an hour. And then he gonna reply with, "Gotta start somewhere, my guy." He says, "Bruh thinks anti-woke racists will follow him." Imagine that. You were talking to 13 people for over an hour. I thought it didn't faze you. Why were you talking to people about this for over an hour, only 13 people, if this didn't faze you like you claim? Apparently it did, because he couldn't stop talking about it. Now get this, y'all. This dude has 2,728 followers. The post that he made, that the first video, probably got viewed over 1 million times. It made its rounds. You would think that after all those viewership that you got and the tone that you spoke in about this game, well, more so about the character, you would have got a much more following. I kid you not, y'all. On the day he made this, which was May 16th, 5 days ago, he was at like 2,500 something followers. So you mean to tell me you only got roughly almost 300 followers since you made that? You couldn't even get 1,000? That's wild. Exactly, Dennis. They didn't support him like he thought they would. This and that, those two rants he made did not hit the way he thought it would. He thought. That's probably another reason why he's upset. Because it didn't spread the way he thought it would. It didn't articulate the way he thought it would. But there was one article in particular that was posted on IGN. And IGN is a major gaming website company. And it was titled, "Let's Not Pretend We're Mad at the New Assassin's Creed Shadow Samurai Isn't Asian. It does nothing for Asian representation to have another samurai hero." It's a reason why I showed those videos of that clown and that post that he made before showing this article. And get this, y'all. This article is written by an Asian man. This is not written by a white man or a white person or anyone else non-Asian. This article is written by an Asian man, meaning this Asian man is about to put these trolls in check with this so-called fake outrage. Let's get into it. Ubisoft has finally announced its long-awaited Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan, subtitled Shadows. It follows dual protagonists, a ninja named Naoe and a samurai based on the historical black samurai Yasuke. While it is known issue that Asian representation in Western games is severely lacking, I find it hypocritical and laughable that we're only talking about the need for an Asian protagonist now that it's been revealed Assassin's Creed Shadows will star a black samurai. This misses the forest for the trees. While I am always advocating for more Asian men in in those type of games, I'll be the first to say that better representation isn't going to be found in yet another samurai hero. The first part they said is enough with the samurais. Ubisoft deciding to focus on Yasuke, a known historical figure, is a smart move. An Assassin's Creed game set in Japan that otherwise would have been frankly hard to distinguish from the other recent open world samurai games. And if I wanted to see an Asian samurai protagonist, I don't have to look very hard. Asian samurai protagonists are a path already well trodden. There's Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Katana Zero, Like a Dragon, Ishin, Samurai Warriors, Rise of the Ronin, Onimusha, Way of the Samurai 2, Ghost of Tsushima. There's also my personal favorite, Muramasa, the Demon Blade. I can go on and on. So it's difficult to come to any other conclusion that the limited imagination of the game development can only envision Asian heroes when they wield katanas or ninja stars. Basically, what this man is saying, they're tired of seeing Asian people only in roles, or in this case, video games, where they are the ninja or the martial artist or the samurai. And they're basically saying, stop stereotyping us with only that, as if we can't be more than just that. Exactly, Cosmo. The same way we're tired of slavery films. They're tired of being shown as the samurai. Why do you think that movie that came out a couple years ago, Crazy Rich Asians, did so well with them? Because it was a movie that didn't depict them as the samurai or the ninja or the martial artist or someone who worked or owned a dojo. Worse still, the complex characters that were so wonderfully brought to life in shows like Shogun, and we're going to talk about that, are often distilled in their simplest forms in games, especially those created by Western studios. While Japanese developer-led titles like Sekiro and Like a Dragon, Ishin utilize their samurai protagonists to tell nuanced stories about overcoming fantastical challenges or provide a glimpse of street-level heroics. In Edo, Japan, the Western-developed games fail to hit a similar level of complexity, often falling back on tired tropes of honor and stoicism. And that's only accounting for games that try to tell a story using their samurai protagonists. More often than not, the samurai archetype is a vehicle for combat first, eschewing any kind of narrative flavor for a cool sword and top knot. Consider hero games like Overwatch that feature two kinds of samurai and a ninja for their Japanese cast. In all flowers of Ghost of Tsushima for its beautifully rendered open world and combat, but Jin Sakai has about as much charisma as a wet piece of cloth. The main grievance I have as an Asian American in games in regards to representation isn't the lack of it, as evidenced by the Wikipedia page full of Asian fighters and ninjas and samurais, but rather its lack of diversity therein. I reportedly previously in a story about Asian American game developers in representation, we are not a monolith, and I, a Korean American, don't see it gain a sense of representation by seeing a Japanese samurai or a Japanese ninja or a kung fu master or an ancient gray-haired mystic for that matter. Of course, all of this comes with the caveat that it is the nature of game development to focus on quote-unquote cool characters with a wide appeal. Samurais and ninjas are cool, and their tools and weapons lend themselves to big action blockbusters. So is it surprising that such characters become the default? Maybe not, but after so many games, it's still disappointing to see how little chances these stories take with these characters. Given the Assassin's Creed franchise history jumping concept, we could have our cake and eat it too with a little effort. Why settle for another samurai hero when the franchise could easily go to the Mongol Empire or post-revolution China, or even the Pacific Theater in World War II, which was a hotbed of counter-imperial espionage led by Asians? The problem of defaulting to a katana-wielding Asian protagonist isn't exclusive to Western studios, as both Capcom and Square Enix often choose to rely on Asian heroes only when they need a samurai or a ninja. But even then, Japan or other Asian studios are still more forward-thinking than their Western counterparts, or who can be the face of their games. It's ironic, but Tango Gameworks is responsible for what I think has been the best Asian protagonist in games in the often overlooked Ghostwire Tokyo. It's a game set in modern day Tokyo with a 21st century Asian protagonist whose responsibilities lay with his dying sister. There isn't a feudal lord, and honestly, it's everything I could have asked for from a game project with an Asian lead. Not to mention the work Sega and Atlus have done with games like Yakuza, Persona, and Shin Megami Tensei, who portray modern characters in unique settings. You know what I'm gaining from this before I even go further with the article? Basically, what this person who they said is Korean American is saying, finally, in game where it can be set in Japan, is historical facts about a character who was a samurai who was an Asian. But for some reason, people who aren't Asian, like the clown we just talked about, have a problem with that. I don't know about y'all, but knowing that this person actually existed is pretty damn awesome, if you ask me. It says, I find comments saying that Assassin's Creed Shadows is a missed opportunity to represent even more Asian protagonists embarrassing. As an Asian man, I don't want to see us have the roles we're expected to have. I want the roles we've not had before. I would love for the next Alan Wake style horror game to have an Asian protagonist, or for Star Wars to follow the footsteps of the Acolyte and have an Asian lead. When I push for greater diversity in games, it's not so that the next samurai game will star an Asian protagonist. It's so that the next Naughty Dog game or the next Hideo Kojima game, or hell, even a Final Fantasy game could imagine an Asian hero. So that's that particular article right there. Now, what I'm about to do now is show y'all some examples of instances where PC over the years have portrayed Asian characters when they're not even Asian themselves. I pulled up quite a few, and we're going to go through. I'm sure there's several, but these really stood out to me. So the first one we're going to talk about, and this one goes back years. Who recognizes this picture right here on your screen? Who recognizes this picture right here on the screen? There was a time in Hollywood where, of course, we all know of blackface, but there was also a time when they had something called yellowface, where you had white people or white actors and actresses put on makeup to make themselves appear like the stereotypical Asian. And for those of you who are putting in the chat, this is Mickey Rooney in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's starring Katharine Hepburn. So instead of them hiring an Asian actor, they hired Mickey Rooney and made his face look like that of an Asian, gave him some fake teeth because they always had the thing of Asians have some very big gargantuan teeth. And he was in their movie acting like the stereotypical Asian. And this was kind of like the kickoff of that. That's why a lot of Asians loved when Bruce Lee became a thing. Like Bruce Lee was like God to them when he came onto the scene. So that's one example. The next one, I just have to do it. Who knows who this guy is? Who knows who this guy is? Now we're moving up a little bit further. Who knows who this guy is? Who knows who the guy is and what movie? Yes, we know who this is. This is Tom Cruise. What movie is this? Yep, The Last Samurai. Now, what's crazy is you have people that are upset about Yasuke, a real individual, someone who actually existed, who was a samurai, a black man in Japan in this game. Yet I'm trying to figure out, how did Tom Cruise fit into The Last Samurai? I'm trying to figure that out. How did he fit into The Last Samurai? And it's crazy because the same people that are mad about Yasuke being in this game are the ones who praise. I mean, I can't tell you that I've not seen one review yet of people saying that this was a bad movie. Everybody who I saw who saw this movie said that they love this movie. So while there might be instances where they're not portraying an Asian character or doing yellow face like Mickey Rooney did, they'll insert a person into a role or a character there that's white that probably should not be there. But like Doc Spencer said, money. They knew people that Tom Cruise would sell tickets. Tom Cruise is at the height of his career because this movie came out in 2003. I'm not saying like, I mean, if you like the movie, you like the movie, but I'm just saying, if you saying like people are saying that they don't like the fact that they got Yasuke in this game, but you're praising this, even though one is more historically accurate. So we got that. The next one I'm going to show is this one. Now, who knows who this is? Put the actor's name and the movie. Playing a little game here, y'all. Put the actor's name in the movie. I want to see if y'all know this. Okay, ain't no worry. Got the movie, which is Prince of Persia, but who's the actor? Okay, J.G. Moore's got it. Jake Gyllenhaal. Prince of Persia, y'all, which is also based off of a video game, a very popular video game, too. I had the first one and loved the hell out of that. I must have played that game like 10 times. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. Now, Persia, for those who don't know, Persia is in Southeast Asia. It is in Asia. Why did they get a white actor to play a Persian? Somebody please let me know. They picked a white actor to play a Persian of Southeast Asia. And they wonder why the movie, or one of the reasons why the movie did not do well. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, I think y'all are going to get this one. Name and movie. Name and movie. I know y'all know this one. Name and movie. Haxon got the movie. Ghost in the Shell. Who's the actress? Forgive me. You said Southwest Asia is what Persia is. Forgive me. Scarlett Johansson. Man, the internet went ablaze when they found out that Scarlett Johansson was playing this character. Now, Ghost in the Shell is actually based off of an anime, and we all know Scarlett Johansson is a white woman. So she played a character that should have been played by an Asian woman. But you had a lot of people also that was trying to cape for it too when she played this part. And this movie too flopped. I'm seeing everybody in there said that they love the anime more than the movie. NY State of Mind, I didn't even put that trash movie up there because I would just get pissed off. But yes, that one that M. Night did, that thing, another example. I'm glad that they recovered with this series on Netflix, which is so much better and very much more accurate. All right, so we got that one. Now this one right here. Now this next one right here, they did two things in one. All right. I want y'all to tell me that the movie and the actress. You can even put the role too. Yep. Fat guy said, "Oh Lord," because you already know. You already know. Doctor Strange is the movie. Okay, that was the movie. Who's the actress or the character? Tilda Swinton is the actress. She played the Ancient One. Now, let me tell you why they knocked out two with one. they knocked out the race thing because they hired a white actor or actress to play this part. But two, they knocked out the gender thing too, because the ancient one is a Tibetan monk. It's a man. And you hired a white actress who is English to play this role. Wow. You hired a white English actress from the UK to portray a Tibetan monk in Doctor Strange. Y'all, the jokes practically write themselves. And like I said, there's so many. But I'll end it off with this one, since this one is the most recent one. Now, for those of you who watched the show, it just came out this year. We have this one. Shogun, where one of the main lead actors is a white man many centuries ago. Whether or not he was actually there during that time period, fiction or not, they found a way to insert, But God forbid you put Yasuke in a game about samurais during that time period, a period he actually existed in. Everybody loses their minds. What did the Joker say in The Dark Knight? Because it's all a part of the plan. Like I said, there's so many more. It's so many, but these were the ones that stood out. I'm seeing y'all name some others in there, but these were the ones that really stood out to me. Now, remember earlier we were mentioning how Yasuke has a whole anime on Netflix. I promise you, if you've never watched anime before, you would enjoy this. And Lakeith Stanfield did a very good job of doing the voice on this show. I wish they would hope they bring it back, because to do just one season is, in my opinion, a disservice, because it ended off on kind of a cliffhanger. It was really good, Joseph. Like, it was really good. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And this is coming from a person that doesn't watch anime. But yep, Yasuke is on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest that you do, especially if you do not watch anime. And speaking of Yasuke, y'all, did y'all know that they're going to be doing not a live action, because it's not like it's a adaptation, that they're going to be bringing Yasuke's story to life on the big screen. Now, for those of y'all who are unaware, before he passed, Chadwick Boseman was getting prepared to do a Yasuke film in which he was going to play Yasuke. But unfortunately, his health was failing and he unfortunately passed away. They had to shelve the project. Well, now they picked the project off the shelves and they found a director, and the Yasuke film is about to be in production. They already have a director. Now, the thing that's kind of shaky with me is that this is the director who did that Color Purple thing that came out in December. So I'm kind of but you know what? I figure if they can continue giving M. Night, whatever his last name is, consistent chances and opportunities to screw up, I will slightly tip my toe into the sea with this and see if he can bounce back from that. But I'll still take it with a grain of salt because of that. So there's that. Now there's two more things I'm going to show y'all. Remember what I said. They were so irate about this game because of one character while completely negating that there's a whole female protagonist in this game who is Japanese. One black person's existence literally pissed them all the way off that they completely negated that there's a female Asian Japanese character in this game. Now, guess what? You know how they kept saying, oh, why couldn't they just have a Japanese man in there too? If they would have did that, the thing they would have nitpicked on was, well, why does it have to be a woman in there? Can't they put two Japanese men in there? I'm telling you, that's what they would have been talking about. But because Yasuke's in the game, it takes all the heat off of her character that would have been there if they had a Asian male protagonist there. Eric said, doesn't she have a bigger role? I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked up a synopsis. Really, I really don't want to because I want to kind of be surprised going into this because I actually did pre-order the game. And speaking of pre-order, this actually segues me into my last point, and then I'm going to drop the link because I know y'all want to come up and say something. Check this out here. I intentionally saved this for last. I want y'all to look at this right quick. Look at this. Y'all probably have no idea what you're looking at. But this right here is the top bestsellers as video games go on Amazon. But if you look closely, the language is not in English, it's in Japanese. Now, I want y'all to follow me here. If this game is not going to be loved or be loved by so many, then why is every edition of this game, which is 4 of them, in the top 16 bestseller with the number 1 being that game? So we have this one right here. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rounding it out at number 1 is the number 1 best-selling game in Japan right now. But let these trolls tell it. If we go mass dislike the trailer, it'll make people not want to buy it. I keep telling people a mass dislike does not translate to dollars. I say it with this game. I say it with those movies that they be trying to do it to. All the stuff they keep saying is woke this and woke that means nothing. Keep this in mind, y'all. Barbie was the highest grossing movie of 2023, making well over $1 billion. Who saw that coming? How many times did they say it was woke? You had Ben Shapiro literally buy Barbie's dream house just to burn it. And it meant nothing to a price of tea in China. Yet over in Japan, it has all editions in the top 16, with it being also the standard edition being the number 1 best-selling PS5 game. And the game doesn't even come out till November. I saw that, Dennis. That is absolutely pathetic. That's why I say whenever they keep talking about woke this and woke that, kill that noise. Kill it. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just talking to simply talk. When I saw that Yasuke was going to be in this game, I already knew what the backlash was going to be before I even pressed play to watch the trailer. But I know y'all have something y'all want to say. I know several of you do. So I'm going to post the link in the chat. If anybody would like to come up and speak to this, and we covered a lot. I told you we was going to be here for a while. We've been here almost an hour and 15 minutes. I told you we was going to be here for a while. So there's the link in the chat. If anybody would like to come up, please go ahead and let your voice be heard. I need to pin it to the top. Let me pin the link to the top right quick, y'all, and then I'm going to bring the first person up. All right, Wallow J, what's going on?
What's going on, brother Torian? What's up, everybody in the chat? When I first saw it, because I didn't know, like, I was like, what's the new Assassin's Creed game looking like? Because I've always seen it. I never really played it. But since I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm getting this one. This is going to be my first one. I don't care. And I said, like you said, when the Backlash came out, I already knew. I said, I said, damn, y'all just overlooked the damn Japanese woman. I said, fuck her. We going after the black man. Damn.
Right.
I don't know the character like, well, damn, am I chopped liver over here? Y'all don't want to talk shit about me? Okay, cool. But they just mad because it ain't a white man and a Japanese woman, because they probably wanted a white man to fall in love with the Japanese woman, and they go off in their little rooms and mess with themselves. You know what? Let me not go there. But they just mad because they're not right beside the Japanese woman. That's all it is, man. And like everybody said, like on somebody said in the chat earlier before I came up, that Japanese people, they love Yasuke. Like, they love the hell out of that man. So for people over here that don't even know what the hell who he was, research is only a Google away. It's not that hard to Google people.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's really, really not. Oh yeah. Also, it was something I wanted to say in the Diane Yap live that you did, and now we're talking about Asian people in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I don't know if you heard about this, Torian. I don't know if anybody in the chat heard about this too. PC might be mad at something else. I don't know if anybody heard, but you know, Japan's birth rate is pretty low.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know how true that is, though.
Yeah, we don't know how true it is.
Because I haven't seen anything any articles alluding to that.
Yeah, there's just rumors right now, people, but they're asking black men, black immigrants to come over and impregnate their women. Allegedly. Let's go allegedly. This is all alleged. We ain't saying it's true. Now, if it is true, all I got to say is, you don't need our help. I'm gonna land my plane right there, Torian.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Wallow J for coming up. Next up, we have Joseph Washington. What's going on?
Hey, Torian, salute to the chat room. I had to make sure that I took care of everything earlier today just to catch this live.
Good. Well, I'm glad you took care of everything.
What can I really say? But honestly, to the trolls out there, white protagonists, the whole white protagonist era peaked in the 80s, and that was really the last time all white leads had a bastion of like starring roles.
Mm-hmm.
And you started to slowly see that segue into a more diverse lineup when you go into the 90s to today. And if you notice, the diversity lot of like these roles, whether it's movies or games, has saved Hollywood. Prime example, Wesley Snipes started the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Blade.
He definitely saved them because they were about to go bankrupt.
Yep. Black Panther, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. grossed the highest among singular Marvel film titles.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know, Assassin's Creed is a historic-based game, and it has a track record for being as closely accurate to historical figures as possible. If I don't know if people remember, you had some of the naysayers having a problem with Assassin's Creed 3 because of how George Washington was portrayed and how some of the founding fathers were portrayed in the game. But it was like, if I could give kudos to that franchise for something, it's for its honesty, or as honest as it could be. And while I was in the chat room typing with some of the folks that were in there, people brought up Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry. If you people who played it and have played the game probably noticed this too. That game almost touched bases with the Haitian Revolution. The timeline between that game and what could have been the Haitian Revolution is it just tiptoed to it, but stopped before it went further.
Mm-hmm.
And I said in a chat room earlier, is you notice they didn't make an Assassin's Creed based on the American Civil War, because you had to uncover a lot of stones to make sure that's accurate.
Right.
And Assassin's Creed in Africa, I'm so glad you read that. If they were to do that, they would have to really touch bases with the transatlantic slave trade, which is what they're trying to do now with removing slavery from the history books over here. It would have been a firestorm of whatever if they even tried to do that. So the people who wrote the article saying damn if you do, damn if you don't when it comes to this game, I'm glad they kept their integrity and just said what was pragmatic and what was in their thought in their hearts. But I said earlier, I'm gonna pre-order just because of because they did the same thing with Mortal Kombat 11, especially with Jackson's ending.
Mm-hmm.
I was Mortal is you made Mortal Kombat 11 a lot more money just because y'all saw the ending of that and just hate bombed the entire videos of it that were out. So you gave them a nice extra bit of change because of that.
Exactly.
And if 4 versions of Assassin's Creed Shadows top 16 in Japan.
Yep.
I saw that.
Go ahead.
Wait. Yeah. It's did I see that right? 4 versions of it.
Yeah, they have when you pre-order it, it's 4 versions of it. I think it is 4 versions, and all 4 of them were in the top 16, with the number 1 being the standard version.
I said it before and I said it again. I'm gonna pre-order it just because of the controversy that it started. Honestly, I've loved Assassin's Creed since the first one. I think the last one I played was 3. I wanted to get back to Origins just because you had it set in Africa, but it was let me chill from the console chase. But seeing the trailer and with everything that's happening is I'm gonna pre-order and support just to make the dub S's mad, as Professor Black Truth would say.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it because I haven't played Assassin's. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played Assassin's Creed since the first one. Mainly because I wasn't a gamer or anything like that. But this one just looks very interesting, so that's why I pre-ordered, and I can't wait. November 15th is when it comes out.
Absolutely, I look forward to it. And again, thanks for having me up. I'm gonna stay locked into the chat.
All right, appreciate you coming up. All right, next up we have Xavier. What's going on?
Hey, Brother Torian, you made my day. This is the one I've been looking forward to. Yes. Thank you for covering this, because man, oh man, I've been laughing my ass off at these clowns online. It's just crazy. Okay, so you know how you always say you give these the besties enough time and they will tell on themselves every single time because they have no imagination. They don't change. They stay the same through the centuries and do the same shit over and over again constantly. This is exactly what they're doing here because we've seen this movie before. This has happened time and time again, where you have you have them crying over, and it's usually a black character. They cry
Yep.
over a black character that just happens to be in the game, and you'll be wondering like what exactly did black people ever do to y'all that you have to be so mad or angry? Though I have a feeling. I think someone in the chat touched on this. I think I know why. Because for like PC men, they tend to fetishize like Asian culture, particularly their women, the Asian
Mhm.
culture in general, and they feel that they are, I don't know, maybe somewhere that's just my thinking, that somewhere in their puny minds that they are entitled to, they are the only ones entitled to Japanese culture. No one else gets to uh, enjoy it or be like center the center of attention. So it must really irk them that, oh, there was actually a black guy. And the funniest thing is that is Japanese people, even the writer of the game, the one of the writers of the game is a Japanese lady, and she was calling people out, saying, "You guys need to stop talking about this. You don't know what you're talking about. That
Right. Yeah.
Yasuke is
Yeah. Yeah.
actually a real person."
Yeah. She ended up catching some strays. Like they had found a picture of her, I guess, like a selfie she had took, and they started like passing it
Yeah,
around and saying a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like I said, that's why I said this one hit harder than I believe GTA 6 because while with GTA 6 they have the white man and I guess you can say a Latina or a South
Latina. Yeah.
Korean a woman as the lead, they were upset
Mm.
about that for a little minute. But when they
Mhm.
drop this and you have a black man alongside an Asian woman in Japan, oh, now it's like the sky is falling. Like
Uh huh.
literally. Like literally.
Very true. And it brings me to another point where someone said, I think it was yesterday or so, they said that they served in Vietnam or Japan, and then they talk about how all the PC guys always give the PC soldiers would give the black soldiers a side eye anytime they see them like
Mhm.
flirting or dating Asian women, whether it be Vietnamese, Japanese, and it really gets under their skin because they feel like, oh, the Asian women are meant for just PC men. It's just really weird. Really, they are really
Yeah,
weird set of people.
that's something that Professor Black Truth actually talked about when he had did the last video he did when he was talking about video games. A lot of them
Yeah,
are so wrapped into these games that they cannot separate fantasy from reality.
from reality.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's like they're caught up in the matrix or some shit. But
yeah.
yeah, I think the last thing I would say is I'm an AC, like I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. I've loved this franchise, though I've only ever played through I think Black Flag. The other ones I kind of play on and off because they're way too long, especially the recent ones. But the one I would recommend for you, I mean, since you've only played the first one, I'd say play Black Flag. Black Flag is arguably next to the first one. Black Flag is like the best
Okay.
in the entire series, especially the sea shanties. Oh my god, I didn't think I would like sea shanties until I played Black Flag. But, but that's I think I'll land my plane there. And thanks again for covering this and bringing me up. Have a good one, brother.
You too. Shout out to Xavier for coming up. Next up, we have King Kobe 313. What's going on?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay. All this is just fake outrage, to be honest with you. When it comes
Oh,
to
definitely.
those types, it's just fake outrage. They mad about it. Give it a good couple months, because it's the release. Now, when the game actually comes out, give it another couple months, and they'll find something else to bitch about.
Right. And the thing is, like I said, they are the ones that's so mad, and that's why I saved that last picture for last to show y'all those numbers, because I keep telling people they can go and mass dislike the trailer all they want, because they do that all the time. But if it doesn't translate to numbers, it means nothing. They actually think they're doing something when they get on X and say, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna dislike the trailer, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna share it so other people can dislike it. They'll put it in them little think tanks, them little forums and all that to go over there. I'm like, that means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. Nothing.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just it's just like anything else that those types get all upset about. They find, it's woke and this and that. Like, just stop already. It's over. Like, let it go. Everything they hate on, it do crazy numbers. Or I don't know if I could say everything, but most things that they hate on, it does crazy numbers. Like, haven't they figured it out already?
They haven't.
This shit they do.
They haven't.
Jesus Christ! Like, all this shit they do is just like, why? You do understand on most of the things that you hate on, people gonna look at it and be like, all right, what's really good? And then when they realize that it's an actual good product or whatever it is, they're looking stupid. All this hate bombing and shit, it falls flat on their face. I don't get the hate, and I don't understand. And then this thing about seeing a black character on something, just be straight up. Just be straight up. Just say exactly why you're hating.
They won't.
Stop with the
Exactly.
code speak. Stop with the bitch made stuff. Just say what you got to say.
This is why when I did that stream last week, when Ann Coulter told Ramen Noodles to his face that she wouldn't vote for him because he was Indian, I had to pause it right there and say, Ann, as anti-black as you are, and you are, thank you for being honest, not dancing around the narrative, because the rest of them will do that. And that's all these individuals, when it comes to this game and even outside of this game, that's all they do. Just say how you feel. But see, they're fearful of the backlash. That's why you got Matt Walsh all over X still asking, is it okay for white people to say the N-word? If you're going to say it, just say it. However, whatever backlash you get is whatever backlash you get. And that's what he's scared, and that's what he doesn't want to deal with. Exactly. Matt, we know you say that word when you alone or with other people that feel the same way you do.
Yeah, within like closed doors or within his little cooned out crowd or whatever. Sure, he does that shit. I believe that. I don't know. It's this whole thing, like, that's still crazy to me, by the way, that she really said that shit on TV. But
I'm not surprised. I am not surprised.
Really
I'm not surprised because the thing is, I've seen stuff that she said before, so I'm not surprised that she said that to him. And I always tell y'all, the people who like him, who kiss their ass all the time, that's the one they're going to get the wake up call from. It's not going to be from us. But the thing is, I always tell people this: the foundation of every grifter's grift is degrading us, and I have yet to be wrong about that.
Nah, you're not wrong. You've been spot on that one. Ever since you brought up the grift thing, when it comes to these types and everything that hate on us, we're public enemy number one and everything. Every goddamn time, it's always us. We're the ones. But yeah, man. Look, I'm going to wrap this up. Keep it up and everything. I really wish this was on Patreon because, dude, This is crazy.
You better tell the people about that Patreon. That Patreon is off the chain.
Man. But anyway, hey, thanks for this. Appreciate what you do. Have a nice one, man.
You too. Shout out to King Kobe for coming up. Next we got Keith. What's going on?
Hey, can you hear me? Hopefully, sound ain't bad.
It's not bad. I can hear you.
Okay. Rollo J was exactly right. I seen the same thing. I saw he is not faking y'all when they But back to that, a lot of people we gotta understand during the black exploitation movies of the 70s, when I grew up, was the Kung Fu movies. We supported them like we did the black exploitation movie, right? So that got a lot of a push for them. And with us going with what they're saying now, a lot of these guys were impure thoughts when that happened. So they think, me love you long time type Asian thing, but they understand where their bread is buttered at. They know that. And us delineating, we like, hey, we picking our ball up, leaving the court. They like, wait a minute. We done seen them get stabbed in the back. And that particular samurai game, they're looking at it like, oh man, this is them kind of pivoting toward black male.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk. That's what it is. We ain't got to say nothing. We just said y'all on your own and see how fast. Less than 6 months ago, we was dealing with them rah-rahing about being able to get away from affirmative action. And now we see this. Put that in perspective.
Oh, definitely.
Put that in perspective. Now they're saying, no, that he's a historical character. But hey, if you go back and research, Bruce Lee, he made sure Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in that movie because he understood black culture and how that worked. It was intertwined with what they was going through. Now, whether or not they get back to that point, I can't really say. But I'm going to say they really recognize we picked the ball up and left the court. So you're going to see a lot more of that. And Diane Yap is going to be on the other end of the spectrum because she's going to be on the bad side of history. A lot of them saying that right now. And Wallow was exactly right. I saw that no more than 5 hours ago. So black people, pay attention. Stay on your square. Keep doing what you're doing as a new black media historian. And I'll land my plane with that.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Keith. Next up, we have Mahako. What's going on?
Yo, Torian, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I appreciate it. First time calling in. I've known about you since like 2018, 2019, thanks to Seiji Hito. But yeah, man, long story short, as always, here we go again. Started about 5 years ago or so. But I remember the Mortal Kombat 5 Jax thing a couple callers ago mentioned it. The fake outrage, long story short, they were pissed off, not because he was cosplaying some other culture or something, but simply because he said, it took me 1, 2, 3 times, but eventually I knocked it out the park. Long story short, brother ended slavery and they got hella salty about that. Then you notice how they say nothing about the dude from the game Neo, Nioh. They say nothing about that. It's a straight up white dude as a samurai, no complaints. Tom Cruise, no complaints. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson playing as Makoto Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. They ain't say a damn thing about that, and it flopped hella hard because it was whack. But long story short, the common denominator is anytime they see a black person in whether it's a live action thing, a fictional piece, or whatever, they lose their fucking minds. Like I never understand that shit. Like it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like for example, I remember you did a story about that one weird PC lady with the red hair. She's supposed to cover the Star Wars stuff and all that, calling us
Oh
darkies and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? Her
What's up?
channel never recovered after that.
Really?
Yes, like because I would like after because what I do is like after she did that, I went to her channel and I always go to see like what's their most watched video and see
Yeah.
what the numbers are looking like. After she did that video, because her video probably spread like wildfire. It was everywhere. You could see it on YouTube. You could see it on when it used to be Twitter, and
Yeah.
everywhere. It floated everywhere. She got hit with daggers from every angle, and
Good.
it
I can't
affected.
believe that.
And it hit her channel hard. Her numbers since that video were never the same after that.
Good. That's what she gets, man. Because I'll never forget our non-FBA brother. Shout outs to him, John Boyega, playing as Finn in Star Wars Episode 7. He takes off the helmet. White people lost their damn minds. I'm like, yo, are you serious? He's not even the main damn character. Here we go again. It's like the same old story. And then last but not least, of course, Black Panther. Folks, I'm like, come on, it's a Marvel movie about a fictitious superhero in Wakanda. Y'all losing your mind about that. So no matter what, we're always the flavor, without us, things don't pop off or whatever. And then when they lose their mind, like a couple of callers earlier, the sales just gonna go up. Y'all can hate, y'all can hit the dislike button, y'all can do whatever the hell y'all want. You're just gonna make whoever it is that made the film, game, all the above even more money because y'all stupid as hell. Y'all, it's like they always say this thing about how we supposedly have low IQ and all that. No, y'all got the low IQ because if y'all knew better, y'all would stop doing this stuff. If you don't want this to spread like wildfire, like if y'all don't want this to actually sell or reach the masses, don't talk about it. Just leave it alone. Like the only reason why I even knew about the Assassin's Creed shit is because I'm a big nerd. I like fighting games and all that stuff. And I think you mentioned earlier, like IGN or whatever. I seen that on the Facebook page. I'm like, are you serious? They're losing their mind about Yasuke, the Black Samurai. Like, here we go again. It never fails, man. It never fails. And I'm gonna be here for the next time, the next video game or fictional work or live action based on something real for the next time they do it, because it's gonna happen, man. But thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking my call, man. You got the best work out here, man. You doing the damn thing with the Petty Pendergrass Productions and all that stuff. I love that series, man. You'll keep up the great work.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Mahako for coming up here the first time. Next up, we have JDW. What's going on?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh man, everything is good, man. God is good. It's all great. You know why it's all great? Because karma is a bitch. Gator Clark is 0-4. Gator Clark is 0-4. The white bitch is 0-4. Yeah, white people. Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Wait a minute. They lost another game.
Yep, they lost. She's the Indian fever, and her ass is 0-4.
Wait, was that game? Wait, hold on. That game was today.
They yesterday they played against the WNBA champions. No, excuse me. No, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me take it back. They played against the Connecticut Fever.
I told people. I told people in that video that I did about her before I went on my trip. I said if she does not deliver, she's going to be a bust. Now keep this in mind, y'all. The WNBA season is very short. They only got like 22 games in a regular season.
Yep. By the way, Angel Reese is playing today. I don't know who she's playing against, but she's playing today. Like I said, she's a bust. Listen, white people. Having those points don't mean nothing. Her average of points, it says it don't mean nothing. You know why? Because Cheryl Swoops' average in her career was 30 plus points. Kayla Clark barely scored 30 points so far in her 4 games. Cheryl Swoop was able to make a 30-point game average within the first 6 games of her career. Not to mention that she beat Michael Jordan in the 1-on-1. If they don't make the playoffs this year, she's a bust. I don't give a damn what nobody says. They are drawing so much money on her. Wilson just gave her an endorsement deal. For those of you who don't know what Wilson is a ball company that manufactures balls, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, soccer. They gave her a $6.8 million endorsement. But this is disrespected Angel Reese. And to all you coons out there who got podcasts all them years ago, that you started all them years ago, where was you coon ass at talking about the WNBA to now? Who's calling you? Who's in your DMs telling you to talk about the WNBA? Famous Smokes, that brother from LA, that with that catchphrase. Why are you doing like that? He's talking about Caitlin Clark. Get the fuck out of here. You never talked about the WNBA, and you started your channel back in 2016. 2016. Man, y'all miss you with that BS, man. Y'all don't care about the WNBA. But I will give the Clockers credit where credit is due. They're on code. They spent in millions of dollars to a league that nobody gave a fuck. I'm not mad about that. I can't get mad about that. But I digress. Enough with that white ass basketball player. As far as the Assassin's Creed thing, my favorite one of the bunch, excuse me, was Assassin's Creed 2. And I highly recommend you play that game because it's a very good game. I never finished Black Flag, and I never played Assassin's Creed 3, so I got to get back to that. And yes, I did pre-order the new Assassin's Creed game. But these Sortines are losing their goddamn minds. What it is that they would rather have black people in a stereotypical position, whether it's entertainment or movies. Why do you think they love Chris Rock so much? Because of the black people versus niggas joke. That's their favorite joke. When you watch the so-called black reactors on YouTube, when they react to Try Not to Laugh challenge or rock and roll music, which I sometimes listen to, they always have one thing in common: the black people versus niggas joke on their videos. After that, it's Thomas Sewell. No, Thomas Sewell, that coon ass nigga. I can't believe he's still alive, but that's me. So they love black people in a stereotypical position. These are the same people who ain't got nothing to say when Tyler Perry dressed in drag for over 25 years. I saw that motherfucker dance to Beyonce's Crazy in Love as Medea. I'm thinking to myself, this nigga don't lost his mind. I lost all respect for Tyler Perry. And you know it's getting bad when black woman, his biggest fan base, is losing respect for him. Because they tired of seeing the same shit. He been doing the same shit in his movies and material for over 25 years. He got a studio and no good writers for movies. You can see his shows. You can see it in the shows and in his movies. It's terrible. It's way worse than it was back in the 2000s. So these Sortines, these crackers, they're gonna keep talking BS. They want to say the N-word so bad, but they're afraid to say it to a black man's face. He's gonna get his ass beat. See, white people want the rewards and not the consequences, which is why if they had the power to bring Jim Crow back to the south and to the north of this country, they'll do it. Okay? The north was never different than the south back then, people. Okay? Once you're south of the Canadian border, your ass is south. That was quoted by Malcolm X. Happy belated birthday to the king. 99 years old, he could have been. So again, let these crackers keep crying. The Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, I hope you finish the season with no wins. As far as you're concerned, Caitlin, you are guilty by association. You sat Ali by while your so-called fan base disrespected a black woman. Somebody that could have looked like who looks like your sister, who looks like your mother, you coon ass niggas. Because you know damn well, if I would have said the same thing, I got the screenshots. If I would have said those same things, I seen those screenshots, we referring to Angel Reese, to your mother and your sister, they ain't going, you motherfuckers ain't gonna worry about no motherfucking WNBA drawing no damn money. Money's gonna be the last thing in your minds. We're gonna be fighting. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna get my head blown off. So let's keep it a buck. Y'all talking about it's the bigger picture. Stop it. The WNBA ain't giving you niggas money. The WNBA is not giving you niggas money. Stop it. If the NBA ain't giving you money for all those years you was talking about it, what makes you think that the WNBA, who was disregarded for over 20 years, gonna give you niggas money? You niggas, y'all make me sick. Be one, brother. I'm out.
Shout out to JDW for coming up. Next up, we got Cosmo Fury. What's going on?
Yo, what's going on, man? You know, when we grow up, what did we do when we when we play video games and we watch superhero stuff, right? What did we do? We played it, right? That's it, right? No
Yep,
questions asked, right?
exactly.
Look, and they probably was complacent with that, thinking that, they just gonna just take it and it's all well and good. But we never had to complain about it. My favorite superhero from Marvel was Spider-Man, Peter Parker, okay? Because that's who I grew up with. It ain't nothing else because of that. It ain't because of how he looked. It ain't because of his skin color. It's because the character is my favorite because of his powers, his abilities, his real life struggles that he went through that was written, real world as for inside the game, outside of the costume, you know?
Yeah.
So I find it crazy still to this day, but not surprising that a lot of them cannot relate to anything because they have no imagination, like a few calls ago said. That ain't our fault, okay? It's not our fault. And I'm tired of hearing them complain about it because I don't know where the disconnect goes, where you really think that you can basically say this kind of stuff and pretty much single out an entire group of a race of people and just think it's going to be all well and good. But hey, I just meant for the game. I'm just so passionate about. No, we don't. You came outside. Now we see you for what you are. But we're supposed to just let that slide. Like I'm
And
telling
don't,
you.
don't get started on Miles Morales.
Oh dear. And you know who inspired that character's creation, right?
Yeah.
Yep, Donald Glover. He inspired them to write. They pretty much created him because he auditioned for Peter Parker, and of course they turned him down. But he was like, you know what? Why can't they be? And they was like, you know what? You have a good point. Why can't there be a Black Spider-Man? It wasn't because, oh my God, we just needed to do that to get the demographic. Spider-Man sells $1 billion in merchandise a year for Marvel.
And don't forget the Spider-Verse movies were very successful, especially that last one. I told
Yes.
people if that movie did not come out in such a crowded month last year, it could have easily been $1 billion movie. But because it came out in June and there was so many other things that came out around it, I think that's what hindered it. But it still did numbers though. No doubt about it. I remember going to see that in a packed theater.
Yes.
And the reaction from people when it said to be continued at the end, I'm like, nobody knew this movie was a part one and a part two. I could assume people knew that, but I guess they didn't look it up.
I'm sorry about that. Just make sure I didn't have a call. Uh, I'm on duty. But yeah, back what I was saying too, it's like, the whole thing with Yasuke. I can't wait to I hope the movie turns out good, that they do the biopic. This makes me, I know selfish, but I wish Chadwick was still here because he would have bodied that. You know that.
Exactly. Oh,
I know.
definitely.
And like I said, I'm watching all of them online, and now because of they have been showing a deep-seated hatred, I'm like, yes, let it come out. Let us see you for what you are, and understand why we don't trust none of you. But I gotta go now. I gotta get back on duty.
No problem. Thanks for coming up.
All right, you're welcome.
Shout out to Cosmo Fury. And the last person we are bringing up this evening is AW1.
That was me, man. I'm sorry.
What's
Hey
going
man, how
on?
you been, Torian?
I've been good.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You doing better than them folks crying about this game, huh?
Way better.
Exactly. Well, and the funny thing is, look, I'm all for culture stuff. I get it, but here's the thing. But the thing is, this guy was real.
Oh yeah, he was very real. Like he
He was
existed.
real, and it's like, yeah, I mean, because well, and then, cause like someone told me the other day, oh, well, would you like if we changed the Black Panther? I just told them like this, yo, real talk, y'all, they're gonna do it anyway, and I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I'm gonna keep on living. You know what I mean? Because they've done that stuff before. They always race swap characters. And the funny thing too, Torian, these are the same folks that will say they swear to up and down, I don't see color until it's one of us.
One of the biggest lies they can tell themselves and us.
Facts, Torian, facts on facts. Well, I'm gonna say one more thing, and then I'm gonna head out, man. But Torian, you keep doing your thing, keep pissing them off, man. Be one.
They pissing themselves off in B1. Shout out to AW1. And that was the last person we are bringing up this evening to speak. Shout out to everybody that came through. Let me go ahead and acknowledge some more of these super chats because there was some that I missed. Shout out to Jamel 000, Autobot Jasmine 98, Savion Draco 0, Dead Star, Denise Scales, Jermaine Watson Sr., Sean Gomes, and that is pretty much it. But shout out to everybody that came through to the chat. I'm glad that you all came through. This was a very good stream. I said I was going to knock this stream out this evening because, like I told you, I'm very limited this week. So y'all, like literally the midday yesterday that you got and today's stream, y'all probably won't get another stream from me until Saturday. And it's going to be an evening stream around the same time as this one. Because as I told y'all last week, my cousin's graduation is coming up, so I will be there. But y'all will still get the videos, the premiere videos for the other days. You said Mahako said any links to the Patreon. Oh yeah, let me get that for you, so you can get to the Patreon. So Mahako, the link to the I just posted it right here. So there it is right there. So you can get to the Patreon. But shout out to everybody that came up, all the contributors, everybody who came through. This had a good turnout like I predicted that it would. I knew a lot of people was really looking forward to hear me say or speak about this. Shout out to the replay gang for those who were unable to be a part of the live, who are going to be catching the playback. And make sure y'all share this video as far as wide as you possibly can, because man, those saltine tears are them things are like acid. They really are. But like I said, this is just fake outrage at the end of the day. They'll find something else to be mad at in the next couple of weeks or so. I can almost guarantee it. But with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. The episode 19 of the We Fall Back series will be coming up tomorrow. I'm gonna put the premiere window up for that when I shut this live down. And with that being said, be safe and be one.